Rewind 2021. There was a parade in my city. Number one pick, dancing in the street. Everybody was hitting the good. Kid arrived in the D, and it was live as can be. They can ball, but we didn't want Green, Mobley, or Scotty B. No, when he got hurt, everyone lost it. Storylines leaking, no faucet. Caught him wash when he broke his tibia. All the haters, time to get it really Everybody wanna be Skip Bayless. Wanna throw shade, okay, say less. Dudes went number one for a reason. It'll click by the end of the season. When he wins most improved player. Gonna be a movie, here's the trailer. Don't say I didn't try to warn ya. Co-signed by Wim Benyama.
Cade Cunningham.
He was raised a Texan, but now he's Detroit flexing. Team USA, he was killing them. Got him effed up, let me quote Eminem. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. It's a bunch of gibberish and money lovers act like they forgot about Cade. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. It's a bunch of gibberish and money lovers act like they forgot about Cade.
Forgot about Cade. They forgot about Cade. Forgot about. How you forget about Cade?
Detroit basketball. What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Downtown Dude Show. Appreciate you guys showing up and showing out as you always do. We had a very entertaining basketball game tonight. I was going to open it with the Dog Pound anthem, but, you know, I could understand how with all the dunks and all the highlight plays that we saw tonight from JD, Nassar, and Ron Holland, and Bees, amidst all that, you could get lost in the fact that Cade had a cool 29-9, right? So I don't want us to forget about Cade tonight because he really was the engine for this team tonight. So just wanted to shout him out as always. We're going to get to all the individual guys, box scores, all that stuff later. But like I said, shout out to everybody who was here. PD Mac, I know, sorry I'm a few minutes late. Nacho, another dub for them young dogs. Yes, sir. Catching a live from GM's production line. Detroit basketball. What's going on, Carl? By the way, that forgot about Cade anthem, guys, was also Carl. He does everything that I do. Everything I put out comes from him. So let's get to this game, man. Duran was thumping on these dudes. Yes, he was. What's going on, DG? Shannon K, what's going on? Another win. All right, man. So let's talk about this game tonight. So the Pistons have won their second straight game, starting a new streak, right? After the loss to the Denver Nuggets a few nights ago. They are stringing together wins once again. And they beat the Jazz tonight on the road, 134-106. And guys, they now move to a season best 8 games over 500. They are now sitting at 35-27. So you guys let me know in the chat who the BTA belt goes to tonight for you. Who gets the BTA belt tonight for you? There's a lot of guys that you can go with. A lot of guys could have been player of the game. But who did you guys think deserves the BTA belt for this game? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. Let me know what y'all thinking. All right. Okay, so guys, this was a very significant win for me. Not because it was a Jazz, it's not like it's a marquee game or anything like that, but before the season started, I had the Pistons winning 35 games to end the season. And right now, they have 35 games with 20 games left. And I don't think anybody saw this coming. Like I said, I always say I had them at 35. My boy King had them at 40. I thought that was a bit much. I thought 35 was pushing it. But I don't think anybody expected possibly 45, pushing 50. That's where the Pistons are right now. They're on pace right now to win between 46, I think, and 47 games right now. 46. So that was put them at about 46-36 or 47-35, somewhere in there, which is crazy from winning 14 games last year. Insane stuff. Let's see what you guys think was the player of the game. Who got the BTA belt in you guys' mind? Let's see what you guys thought. Carl said JD. Devon said sorry, JD. Fontecchio played like a power forward tonight with that huge. Yes, we're gonna get to him. Hey, I have some comments on Fontecchio tonight, guys. I may not even need to get a sip of water for this one. Gotta give it to JD, Duran, JD, Cade, bro caught 2 bodies. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to it. Oh, Devon said Schroeder too. We came out still. Yeah. He did his thing. Do the Pistons have a magic number of 17 to make the playoffs? Can you? Right. All right. So let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. What's going on, Marvin? Let's get to it. All right. So like I mentioned, guys, it's insane. The Pistons right now are sitting at a pace to win 46 to 47 games. Insane. I did not see this coming. JB Bickerstaff deserves some serious consideration for Coach of the Year. I understand Kenny Atkinson has, the Cavaliers right now 50-10 is their record, 50-10, which is crazy, right? So you can't discount that, but I think JB should at least get some serious consideration. I think he should finish at worst second. It should be, in my opinion, JB Bickerstaff or Kenny Atkinson, whichever guy you want to go with is fine. And then thirdly is JJ Redick underneath those two guys, in my opinion. I don't think he's at that level. When you got a LeBron and a Luka, come on. I'm not taking away from him, but come on. Look at the rosters and come on. Let's just be real. All right. So shout out to JB Bickerstaff, man. He's really doing his thing with his team. Really has these guys. He has really righted the ship all the way around, man. So I can't give him enough praise. And Trajan Langdon for bringing him here. The fact that he didn't even have a serious relationship with JB, but he still brought him here just based on his basketball knowledge and his merit. So things like that really stick out. All right. So going into this game, right, I saw the injury report. I saw all the guys who were missing on both sides. And I said to myself, this is a game the Pistons absolutely have to get. Absolutely. This was a take care of business game. The Pistons just had to have it, right? You got to stack wins second half of the season, and they did that tonight. They were, however, without Tobias Harris and Isaiah Stewart. Tobias was out for personal reasons, and Stu was out with the lower back contusion. And unfortunately, Bobby Klintman was also out tonight. I was happy until I wasn't happy, but the silver lining for me of those guys being out for me was Klintman getting the chance to hopefully play. But he was also out. I think he's with the G League, so no complaints. But I was hoping to see him, but whatever. So Beasley got the start tonight with Tobias out. And the Jazz were depleted. They were missing a lot of guys. They were missing Lauri Markkanen, John Collins, Taylor Hendricks, and about 3 or 4 of the guys. So I was hoping the Pistons coming into this game are just going to take care of business early so that way we could possibly see some of these young guys and also at the same time allow our starters to get some rest and not have to play too deep into this game. So those are my initial thoughts from what I saw. But like I mentioned, man, I want to shout him out again. We just talked about him, but I want to shout him out again because JB Bickerstaff won Coach of the Month for the month of January. Eastern Conference Coach of the Month, he won it. And the Pistons went 9-3 in the month of February, including that 8-game winning streak, right? And he's the first coach, guys, in 17 years to win Coach of the Month. Not year, month. It's been 17 years since that's happened. The last time it happened was in 2008. And if you guys are paying attention, a lot of things are going back to 2008. That was the last time the Pistons really were in contention to push for a championship, right? So that's why 2008 is so important because that's the last time the Pistons won a playoff game and series. Haven't won one in 17 years. So that year, the Pistons actually went to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they were playing for Coach Flip Saunders. Rest in peace. He was the coach that won Coach of the Year the last time the Pistons had a coach that did it. And in that series, in the conference finals, the Pistons lost to the Boston Celtics in 6 games, 4-2. And then they traded Chauncey the year after. So the Pistons guys now are doing things that we haven't seen in a long time. Nearly 2 decades. 17 years. 2008. It just keeps going back to that date, to that year, because that was when we were really contending. So that's enough reason alone, guys, to be excited. That's why I'm excited. That's why I have not been as excited about a Pistons team in that span, right? Because even in 2016 and 2018, even though we went to the playoffs, I knew our ceiling was only so high. I knew we were not going to contend for championships with those teams. You could just tell, right? But with this team, you see the window is just beginning to crack open. And the ceiling, you can't even see it because it's so high for this team. That's why I'm so excited, because the wins are coming with a bright future. That's the beauty of it. The wins are coming with a bright future. We're getting wins, and we can see this team is nowhere near polished yet. That's exciting. It's different from having a team who was older and broken down and kind of been through the run of the mill, and you see them playing at max capacity for their level, but they're at their ceiling. This team is the opposite. There are playing very, very well, nowhere near their ceiling, and they're still winning games. That's why I'm so excited. That's the difference. That's the difference with this team. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season, man, because it's going to be a lot of fun going forward. Yeah, man. So coming into this game, right, the Pistons, the last time the Pistons played this team, they got blown off the floor, right? Since that game, they have been 23-10. That's their record since they last played the Utah Jazz. The game when they were down at home, 48-19 in the first quarter. That game, yeah. The Pistons are 23-10 since then. And tonight, they look like a much improved team from the team we saw then. Because they just seem to, they play with intention now. They look more engaged. They look like they're more organized on both sides of the ball, right? There's organization on offense. You see them running sets. Guys are just moving like a well-oiled machine as opposed to just ball watching guys go one-on-one. We don't see that anymore. That's not what we see. So you just see with time, guys have understood the offensive scheme, the defensive scheme, and now things are just coming to them naturally. It's like muscle memory, right? And that's the difference. And in this game, they really set the tone. I always talk about setting the tone, right? Setting the tone. They set the tone early in this game. They played their style, and they dictated the style of play that was going to be played in this game early in this game. That's why they were up double digits in the first quarter, even though they weren't really shooting the ball well. They were playing to their style, and that was to their advantage. And by halftime, they were up 20, right? They were up 20. And with that, they did something that I always talk about as well. Along with hitting first and setting the tone, you got to play 4 quarters, or as close to 4 quarters as possible. You're not going to get a full tilt 48 minutes. It's just not going to happen. Sometimes you often see it not happening in finals games, right? There's a natural propensity sometimes to have a distraction or have a lull, right? So to stay locked in the whole game requires a lot of mental energy and effort, right? It just does. So if you can get as close as possible to 48 minutes, like 42, 44, preferably, that's really what you want to try to get every game, right? And the Pistons had a little low in the fourth quarter when they were down. I think they were up by 29, and they let Utah cut the lead in half to about 14, 15. Timeout. Same thing happened last game, right? But the Pistons got back to it. They got back to who they are after the timeout. JB had to remind them again, let's slide back in. Let's get back to who we are. Let's dictate the style. Let's dictate pace. And once they did that, Kate came back into the game and just took it over and put it away, right? So the Jazz never threatened in this game, but you still want to see the Pistons continue to work on getting as close as possible to playing just complete games. Because when you play against teams that are not the Jazz, when you start approaching the playoffs, those teams are going to make you pay a little bit more than what the Jazz did tonight. So just something to keep in mind for the Pistons, just the importance of keeping their foot on the gas at all times, as much as possible, right? All right. So now, guys, let's get to the box scores. Let's get the individual boxes. And before I do that, let me go ahead and check some comments to see if we got anything here that kind of pertains to what we're talking about. Y'all still talking about JD. JD Nassar is like all I see in the chat. That's like literally all I see. Yeah. Salute, Chess Ready. Salute to everybody who was here, man. You guys are lit tonight. Y'all are lit tonight. All right, let's get to the box scores. All right. So let's start with Cade Cunningham. Cade tonight. Let's see. Oh, I got the wrong one. Give me a second. Let me pull this up here. NBA, Jazz, Pistons, box score. I got the one up from the Nets yesterday. So I got to pull this one up from here, from today. March 3rd. All right, let's see what we got. All right, so Cade tonight had 29 points, 9 assists, 4 steals, 6 turnovers, on 12 for 24 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3, 4 4 from the free throw line in 30 minutes. So, you know, the interesting thing about this game was, like, he struggled, especially from 3. He was so many shots that he missed. It's like, whoa, I thought that was good that he usually makes, right? He struggled with the shot, though, early. From 3, he really struggled. But it seemed like a lot of his shots early in this game were from long distance. So it seemed like he just tried to get closer to the hoop, and he was able to do that. But the thing that really hurt him early was that he picked up 2 fouls. He picked up 2 fouls early in the first quarter. And surprisingly, JB Bickerstaff let him go. He let him go. I think this was a game where, honestly, Coach wanted to see how his star player was gonna play with foul trouble. And I think he felt, regardless of what happened, the Pistons would still be able to get away with it. Like if Cade did pick up his third foul in the first quarter and he had to sit into the third quarter, I think the Pistons still could have gotten away with this win because it is the Utah Jazz. No disrespect, but we're just better than them, right? So I think he just wanted to see in that spot because Cade doesn't really get in foul trouble early. So I think coach just wanted to see and just see how he dealt with foul trouble in that spot to see if he just to see because he's never seen it. And I think either way, the Pistons could have still gotten away with it, even if he did pick up that third foul. So I think JB was low key just trying to see how that would play out. But to Cade's credit, he didn't pick it up. Right? He picked up the second foul about 8 minutes early in the first quarter, and JB trusted him. Right? He just let it play out because he knew that Cade would also still be able to remain a threat on the floor. Right? He was hoping he was going to do that. Just remain a threat on the floor. Don't try to do too much. Picking up that third foul, offensive foul, or something like that. But at the same time, not picking up that other foul for hopefully another 2 minutes or so to the 2 minute mark because it was 8 minutes left, right? I was honestly scoreboard watching. I was hoping, just watching the clock, just let's get to 6 minutes. Let's get to 6 minutes. That's usually when he comes out, and that's when Schroeder comes in. So I was just hoping he didn't pick it up, and he didn't, right? And it's important he didn't because he really got into his bag in that third quarter. He really started to go to work in that third quarter. And had he had 3 fouls in that first quarter, like say he picked up a third foul in that third quarter instead of JB taking him out. Had he had 3 in the first quarter, come second half, he wouldn't have been able to be as aggressive. Because if he'd have picked up another one, a 4th foul in the third quarter, now he's got to sit again into the 4th quarter. So him not getting that third foul early and just sitting down for most of the first half allowed him to go into the third quarter with only 2 fouls. And now he can be aggressive if he picks up that third foul. So the whole domino effect of him not picking up that third foul was so important because it led to him being able to be aggressive with the Pistons needed in that second half to really get going, right? So shout out to him, man. He showed a lot of discipline. He showed maturity and not getting flustered because he wasn't getting a lot of foul calls either. One of them actually got overturned that they didn't call a foul, and it was an obvious smack, right? And he was upset, and they overturned it. So he really wasn't getting respect. But I salute him for not picking that third foul up early on because he knew the team needed him. But I also give credit to JB too by trusting him that he wouldn't do so because he easily could have just sat him down. He easily could have said, you got 2 fouls, sit down. But once again, I think because they're playing the Jazz, it was an opportunity for coach to see what he would do in that spot while not sacrificing the game if he does pick that third foul up. Just my opinion, but that's what I think. All right, so that was Cade. Now, let's take a look at, let's see, who we want to go to next. Okay, let's go to the guy who stepped in tonight for Tobias Harris. Let's go to Malik Beasley, right? Malik Beasley, man. I don't know, man. This dude is just consistent. He didn't have the greatest shooting night tonight, but just the way he approaches the game and his timely shot making and his confidence is just so important. He had 15 points tonight to go with 1 rebound, 1 assist. He only shot 6 for 17. 3 for 14 from 3 in 33 minutes. So it didn't seem like he shot that poorly, to be honest, to me. Like, I'm just looking at the box score with you guys, and I didn't realize he shot 6 for 17. It did not feel like that. It felt like he made so many big shots. But once again, I think I think it was when he made the shots that really counted as sometimes 2 or 3, you know? So, but once again, he played his game. He played his game. Right? As of right now, he's the current leader in 3-pointers made in the league. He's now first. He's ahead now of Anthony Edwards. Isn't it crazy he was not in the All-Star, in the 3-point shootout? Ridiculous. But anyway, one part of Beasley's game, guys, that I think is so underrated that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, is just his ability to be effective with either unit, right? It doesn't matter if he's starting. It doesn't matter if he's coming off the bench. He's going to play his game, and he's going to be effective while doing it. It's been times when guys have been out this season, when Tim Hardaway Jr. went down, with his head injury, when Asar was out, and Beasley was starting, that he played well in the starting role too. It wasn't like, because some guys are so systematic and rigid that once they're in a role, they're used to just playing that role. And if you insert them into the starting lineup or move them to the bench when they're used to starting, they don't look the same. They don't look the same. You know, some guys have trouble going to the bench because they're used to being warm as soon as the game starts, as opposed to coming off the bench cold and now trying to get warm. Like, certain guys are not able to do what he's doing. Certain guys are not able to be effective in either unit. But that just shows his professionalism. That goes to his professionalism, guys. This dude is always prepared. He's always working on his jump shot. He's always the first guy in the locker room. He's always the first guy on the gym, on the floor, right? Getting up shots. He's always the first guy out of the halftime, getting shots up while the halftime performance is still going on. Like, he's always doing that. He's a professional. He is a professional. He plays the same way regardless. And I think his ability to move without the basketball, and then also being able to put it on the floor when he needs to in a pinch, that makes his game transferable. Either unit, it doesn't matter. That's important. That's important on nights when you have guys like Tobias and Isaiah Stewart who are out, right? It's important to have guys who you can just plug and play. He's the guy you can just plug and play. And tonight the Pistons played to their identity, right? Which works for him because they turn defense into offense, and now he's out in transition, getting him up, right? That really benefits his game as well. So he is playing very, very well. Like, even though he didn't have a great stat line tonight, just his impact on both sides of the court now, he had some some highlight plays too, man. He had a nice dunk. I think we sometimes forget about his athleticism, guys, because he's so good of a shooter. Like, he's so good of a shooter that we forget this guy's bunnies. He's got bunnies. He can really get up off the floor, and we saw it tonight. We've seen the last few games. Shorter had an alley-oop pass to him for a dunk, and he went up and got it. Like, so, Beasley, once again, man, I just keep saying that. 1 year, $6 million. That is what he signed to. 1 year for $6 million. Quality signing, man. That's ridiculous. He's gonna get a payday for sure this coming off season, and it better be from the Pistons. Better be. All right. Let's move on. And by the way, I'm confident it will be. All right. Let's go to Tim Hardaway Jr. By the way, guys, everybody tonight had a plus 16. The lowest was 16 in the starting lineup, and that was Cade at plus minus, just to show how well everybody played. But Tim Hardaway Jr. tonight, plus 29. He had 13 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover, 4-10 from the field, 106 from the 3-point line. So, guys, tonight he was hooping. The last few games, he's had like 8 points, 9 points, but still playing well, being a star in his role, right? Playing the same exact way he always plays, moving out the basketball, getting shots, right? Just playing the right way. But tonight he was in a different kind of rhythm. It felt like he was just offensively, he was just getting it done everywhere. He was coming off screens, and he was taking basically what the defense was given. He was either knocking down threes or he was getting downhill if they overplayed on the shot, right? And just getting to the rim, getting tough finishes and one finishes. On one play, he brought the ball up court and just rose from 30 and knocked it down. Like, he was just in the rhythm tonight. You could tell he was definitely in the rhythm. I just love how he gives the Pistons flow. He gives the Pistons great offensive flow with his player movement, with his movement without the basketball, the way he sets screens for guys. He's a really good role player. He's a very good player, man. Like, I have to give him credit for what he's doing because he's getting it done on both ends of the court. He's an underrated defender as well. He's not a guy who's going to turn you over, every game and go for a crazy dunk, but he stays in front of you. He stays in front of guys. He plays good, sound defense. He's a great communicator defensively. He doesn't get lost. He doesn't blow assignments. You don't see him looking around like this, like he missed it. Like, he understands how to play the game. He understands how to play the game. And that's why I really appreciate him, because on a young team, you need guys who know how to just play the game. And he does that. And another thing too, with him, guys like him and Beasley, who are good shooters, it's a beautiful thing when you see a good shooter swing the ball to another good shooter. Both good shots, both open shots, but one may be just a little bit more open than the other. And tonight you saw that with THJ and Beasley. You saw Beasley catching the ball, and who is the league leader in 3-point makes. You see him catch the ball on the perimeter, wide open. Defense is scrambling to him. He still can get the shot off easily and cleanly, but he swings it to Tim Hardaway Jr., who knocks it down. You don't see that too often. For this team, it's not about who is the best shooter. It's about who has the best shot. That is rare. especially when you have a guy like Beasley who is as good of a shooter as he is and takes pride in being a shooter. Like all the things I just mentioned about how he is always on the court before everybody else. Like all those things play a part into his confidence. You know he's a confident player, but yet he's still making the right pass to a guy who may not be as good of a shooter as him, but it has a higher quality shot. And nobody would even blame Beasley if he was taking those shots. But it just shows this team as a whole is very unselfish. Very unselfish. It takes a lot of humility to make plays like that. And tonight to see those guys make it and to see Tim Hardaway Jr. make the shot just reinforces for Beasley, yeah, I made the right play. You know, things like that are just very, very important, man. This team is connected. This team, there's no agendas. This team is just connected. All they want to do is win. All they want to do is win. You can see it. No egos, no nothing. These guys are just like, I play for you, you play for me. We play for each other. It's all about the team. That's how this team plays basketball. Doug, appreciate you, brother. I'm definitely going to get a coffee tomorrow, man. I appreciate that, man, as always. What do you think of this game? Give me your thoughts on this game, Doug. All right, let's move on, guys. Let's move on to who we got left. We got 2 guys left. Let's get to Asar, man. Asar Thompson has 17 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block on 7 for 7 shooting, 3 of 3 from the free throw line in 30 minutes. Wow, 30 minutes. I think, is this the first time we've seen Asar play more than 20 minutes or 20 plus minutes? I think this is maybe be the first time I've seen a 30 by his minute count. I don't remember ever seeing that. If so, that is a very good sign. Very good sign. Because that means that once again, his conditioning is continuing to improve. It's continuing to improve. We know early in the season when he first got back from that 8-month, time off with the blood clot, he was logging 22 minutes, 24 minutes, and he's continued, it seems like, to rev up, right? It seems like he's still continuing to ramp up his minutes, which is perfect timing for the playoff run. Perfect timing for the playoff run, right? So I love to see that he is getting comfortable playing more minutes, and he's effective still playing those minutes. But aside from his minutes, man, Asar Thompson is so important to this team, man. Like, as I mentioned earlier, guys, like, Beasley got the start, right, with Tobias out. So that means everybody has to move up a position, right? It's kind of like when Tim Hardaway Jr. had to move up from the 2 to the 3 when Asar went out, right? Which kind of makes it push you at disadvantage because you're not as big. But that's kind of what happened tonight. When Tobias went out, Asar had to move from the 3 to the 4, and Tim Hardaway Jr. had to move from the 2 to the 3 in order to allow Beasley to come in and play the 2 and allow K to keep playing the 1. Right? So I was kind of curious to see how Asar was going to look at the 4 because he's normally at the 3, right? But it didn't matter, man, because he plays so much bigger than his size and he's so athletic and he's so smart and he's got great instincts. He can play 1 through 4. He can play. I think peak Asar Thompson is going to have the ability to play 1 through 4 about as evenly position by position as you can find around the league. I think that's his ceiling, is that versatility, right? And tonight he was a menace once again, man. He's currently second in the league in steals since the beginning of January. Since the beginning of January, he is second in the league in steals, guys. And he just gets it done on both sides of the ball. Defensively, he makes guys so uncomfortable. His activity and his length, he's constantly in your face. He's got great foot speed. He gets deflections. He's able to get out in the break and get easy shots. He's just so good of a player. And he's getting more comfortable finding ways to score, even though he's not comfortable with or confident in his shot. 7 for 7. I always talk about it. Getting shots around the hoop. The pick and roll has really done wonders for him. When Cade and JD are on the pick and roll and JD catches the ball in the middle of the floor in the paint, a lot of time you'll see Asar dive into the hoop behind the defense for an easy dunk. And JD has the vision to find him. Asar is just always moving. He's always moving. And we have a few guys in our starting lineup who are always moving. Right? As of right now, we've got Tim Hardaway Jr. always moving. So when you have guys always moving, it makes it hard for the defense to keep up, especially when you got guys as fast as Asar and as athletic as Asar. But he's a really good player, man. Really, really talented player. I'm really excited. These guys, all these guys across the board are just showing more and more of their potential. The Assassin King, the Pistons won again, for real. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, we're going to get to JD. I'm glad you mentioned that. We're going to get to him right now. I'm going to lead us up here. Let's get to JD. I saved him for last, guys. Okay, Jalen Duren, 16 points, 12 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks, 3 turnovers, on 5 for 5 shooting, 6 for 8 from the free throw line in 30 minutes. Need I say more? Before I even go any further, let's just take a look at a couple things here. Stand by. Next.
Rebound comes down to Cody Williams. His dish for Kessler, swiped by Jalen Duren. Great anticipation and hustle. Gets payback with a...
Guys, this dude is all of a sudden, Jalen Duren, showing signs all of a sudden, by the way, showing signs of being a future star alongside Cade Cunningham. 3 blocks in the first quarter. 6 blocks last game. Question, who was the last Detroit Piston to show the ability to do that? Just absurd numbers defensively. Who was the last guy? Who does that remind you of as far as having the ability? That's all I'm saying. Just the ability to be able to have close to 10 blocks a game, 3 or 4 blocks in a quarter. Anybody sound familiar? I'm not making comparisons that are equal right now. But what I'm talking about, guys, when it comes to Jalen Duren, is the same thing I've been saying all year long. You do not give up on a young, raw, talented, 21-year-old big man. You don't do that. The play I just showed you, the last play I just showed you, with the steal and dunk, reminds me of 2004, Game 5, NBA Finals, when Ben Wallace stole the ball from Gary Payton, crossed over Slava Medvedenko, and took it coast to coast for a dunk. You guys remember that? That's what that play just reminded me of. A big who can do that has the ability to do that, to not just get a steal, but to have the ability to dribble the ball down the court and get the finish. That is what that reminded me of. I'm not saying he's Ben Wallace. There's only one Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace is arguably the best defensive player to ever play the game, right? I watched him live every single one of his games. I know what Ben Wallace is. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying ability, the potential. This guy is showing signs of that potential. And he shoots it well from the free throw line. 6 or 8 tonight. 80% for most of the season. And he's 6'10". And he's a freak athlete. And he's got vision. And he's got better than average handle for a big man. And now he's getting steals for run-out dunks, a la Ben Wallace used to do all the time. JD right now is second in the league in dunks. Only behind Giannis, MVP candidate. I'm going to say it again. Jalen Duren is second in the league in dunks. Only behind Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is top 3 right now in MVP voting. Guys, he also tonight had to play the whole first quarter. Because with Stu out, the only other big was Paul Reed. No fouls in the first quarter. He played the whole first quarter. Sometimes when you got to play a full quarter like that, you have a propensity to start using your hands when you play defense, and you start swiping and you don't move your legs, you don't move your feet as much because you're tired. That takes more energy. It's easier to just swipe at a ball. No fouls in the first quarter despite playing the whole first quarter. This guy, guys, is showing what I thought we would see from him when we first drafted him. Can you imagine, guys? Okay, let's talk about this for a second. I'm not calling anybody out here in the chat. You know who you are if you did. You know who you are if you did not. But there were so many people, and this is the last time I'm going to say this tonight. There's so many people who were ready to trade Jalen Duren, who were ready to sit Jalen Duren, who were ready to say, we're not paying Jalen Duren. Once his contract is over, Jalen Duren sucks, Jalen Duren's trash, Jalen Duren's this, Jalen Duren's that. We need to trade Jalen Duren immediately. He's not good. Can you imagine when he was struggling and playing soft, by his own words, which he even admitted? Can you imagine if the Pistons traded him back in November? They traded him hastily, moved on from him. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the team that we traded him to receive the Jalen Duren that we're watching right now? I can't either. But that's what would have happened if you would have been an impatient GM. That's exactly what would have happened. And that's why we're not GMs. That's exactly why. Everybody in this chat would be sick if he went somewhere else and started playing like this. Everybody would say, he must not like Detroit. He must not like Detroit. There's no way he could be this good this fast. He must have always had. No. It just takes time. It clicks at different times for different players who play different positions. It may be easier for a point guard to catch on to a scheme as opposed to a big, or vice versa. Or some guys catch on later. Some guys are late bloomers. He's 21. He's not even a late bloomer. He's just 21. But this is why you don't make a move like that. You have to let him learn. You have to let him go through, make mistakes, get the reps, learn himself, learn his teammates, learn the offensive and defensive scheme, learn who he's going to be so he can be a star in that role. But first, you got to learn it. First, you have to get it. First, you have to have that transformation up here. Right? I always say, Isaiah Stewart's superpower is this. JD's superpower is his natural physical gifts. He's a smart player as well, but Stu always has that motor running hot. And JD is starting to adapt that and become that. And now we're seeing a star in the making, which is what I always thought he would be. So I'm going to end it with this with JD because, imagine he's wearing a different uniform and doing this.
Chemistry, folks. Cade with the wraparound. Duren's going to take off from the docks and punch this thing hard. Is that KJ Martin you get that on? No.
Yes, it is.
He did the same thing last game on the N1. I'd be sick. And I think all of you would be as well. So thank you to Trajan Langdon for understanding that patience is important. Patience is key. Patience is what you must have for all young, talented players who are in a new situation with a new coach, a new front office, new teammates, everything new, a new culture. JD is going to be just fine, and we are going to be better for it because we will have learned the importance of patience when it comes to everybody else who comes through here. Exhibit A is Jalen Duren of why we need to make sure we manifest that. Okay, let me move on to the bench, and then we will call it a night, guys. Let's see who we have here. Let's start with Simone Fontecchio, man. Simone Fontecchio had 10 points tonight, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block, 1 turnover on 4 for 9 shooting, 2 of 5 from 3, 0-2 from the free throw line in 22 minutes. So this was definitely one of Fontecchio's better games. You guys know I have been hard on Fontecchio because I want him to play a certain way. Right? Catch and shoot, catch and shoot, catch and shoot. Not trying to create, not trying to put the ball on the floor and make plays. Catch and shoot. If it's not there, move yourself and move the ball. Right? And tonight, even though he didn't shoot it great, he shot it solid. I think 4 for 9 is pretty solid. Right? It's pretty good. 2 of 5 from 3 is okay. He didn't shoot it great, but he played to his strengths. I have no problem with Fontecchio playing if he's missing shots. as long as he's still moving without the basketball, moving himself, right? Moving the ball and playing good defense, I'm okay with that. As long as he doesn't have the majority of nights where he's not shooting it well, right? We still need him to shoot the ball well. That's one of the biggest reasons he's here. But if he's giving us solid shooting and good defense and moving without the basketball, keeping the flow, keeping the offensive flow moving, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I am perfectly fine with that. And tonight, that's what he did. He had a few plays tonight where on one possession, he put the ball on the floor, and I got a little bit nervous, but he pretty much did a weird dribble post. He got himself into the post and just kept powering his way to the rim because he had a mouse in the house on him. So I'm not the biggest fan of him putting the ball on the floor, but I understand what he was trying to do, just use his size and get to the rims, and he made the play. So whatever. But I want to give a shout out to Dennis Schroeder too, who we'll get to. But Dennis Schroeder, guys, he kept Fontecchio involved in this game. When the shot wasn't falling in the first half, he helped him get into a rhythm in the second half by, once again, making the extra pass. It was the same thing with Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. But Schroeder, as a point guard, had an open shot, open three, but he had a swing available. So as the defender is trying to desperately get to him, he could get the shot off easily, but he's got Fontecchio open for an even better, cleaner shot. Pass it to him, knocked it down. That's point guard stuff, right? That's point guard stuff. That's good point guard recognition, understanding your teammates, understanding how to get guys going, and looking for them so you can try to get them going. That is exactly the Dennis Schroeder I was hoping to see, right? We know he can get buckets, and we'll get to that, but him just making sure that he's setting the offense up, setting the table for the offense, getting guys involved while Kate is sitting down, right? Keeping the offense moving and providing the same resistance defensively when you're out in the court. And that's what Schroeder did for Simone Fontecchio, and he benefited. But Fontecchio was solid, man. He knocked down shots, when they were there. He didn't try to do too much, which is all I ask for. He had a nice block in the perimeter. He played big, right? He played power forward basketball, which was good to see. He was solid, man. I got to give him credit. For as much as I get on him and criticize him for his lack of being who he is and focusing on the strengths, I got to give him credit when he does things that are effective and when he plays to his strengths, and he did tonight. He did tonight. So good game from Fontecchio. I will take this type of performance from him every game going forward. Not the 10 points, not the shooting, but just the way you're playing the game, the approach you have to the game. You keep that, you'll stay on the floor. You'll stay on the floor. And he did that tonight. So shout out to him. All right. Let's get to a few more guys. Let's get to Lindy Waters, man. Lindy Waters is a guy that I was hoping to see for a while now, right? We've had him for a few weeks since the trade deadline. And he did his thing tonight. He got some extended minutes. He didn't get a ton of minutes. He got 5 minutes. But he played solid, man. He had 8 points and 1 steal in 5 minutes on 3 or 4 shooting, 2 or 3 from 3. And I've said this before. I knew when he came here, he was going to be a shooting threat. I watched him with Golden State. Aside from Stu just taking the ball away, I watched him play a little bit. He's got a clip. He's got a clip, man. He's got a beautiful looking shot. And when he's open, he knocks it down. He knocks it down, man. So I want to see more of him if possible, right? I know Fontecchio is starting to play a little bit better, and maybe he's playing more than Waters because he's been here and because maybe he provides more size and defense. Because Waters is pretty much, I think he's like 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", so he's not really a big guy. But I think Fontecchio is playing more than him right now, not because of his shooting, but because of his defense and his size. So we'll see how that plays out. I still want to see more Fontecchio consistency, because we really haven't seen that all year. We've seen like ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys with him. If we get consistent Fontecchio like tonight, I'm okay with him staying in that role though. But Waters has a clip, and it's good to know we have a guy like him that can come off our bench and give us some shot making if we need it, because it's going to be games where guys are not always playing very well. So having a guy like him, or maybe there's a game with foul trouble, having a guy like him come in and provide a boost is helpful. All right, let's get to B-Ball Paul. B-Ball Paul, man. First of all, when it comes to B-Ball Paul, let me ask all this. Did anybody see that dunk? Did anybody see that B-Ball Paul dunk on Walker Kessler? Please tell me you guys saw that dunk. Because that was one of the highlight plays from this game tonight. Just in case you didn't see it, I got you covered.
Trying to find Sensabaugh.
B.Y. Paul was hooping, man. He was hooping tonight. He was hooping tonight. I was happy for him. I was happy to see him get an opportunity because it seemed like tonight he came to remind everybody that just because I'm not playing much, you know, whenever I do, you better account for me. You better keep your eyes on me. And tonight he was impactful. He really played a really solid game off the bench in the Isaiah Stewart role tonight. He had 6 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 or 4 shooting in 17 minutes. So he did a little bit of everything. He did a little bit of everything, and he shot the ball well. I was very happy to see what I saw from Paul Reed, man. He was really good interior defense-wise. He challenged shots at the rim. He knocked down shots when they were there. He was battling the trees, too, man. He was fighting off 2 guys, Filipowski and Walker Kessler by himself, still grabbing boards. Like, he was playing really hard in that paint, really battling in that paint. A lot of what Isaiah Stewart does. A lot of what Isaiah Stewart was. So I also noticed, too, that his pick and roll with Cade is a lot better than I thought. Like, because, you know, the pick and roll takes time to develop with players. It's not always transferable from one guy to the other. It's a timing thing. It's a positioning thing. It's waiting for the big to come up. All those things, right? So that shows me that they've been getting reps too. It's not just Cade and JD. It's Cade and Stu getting reps in practice. It's Cade and Paul Reed getting reps in practice. All these guys are doing the same thing. They're learning each other. So that way, if there is a guy that's not available or a guy that's in foul trouble, the next man up can come in and do the same exact thing, right? So tonight, in the pick and roll, he was setting solid screens, you know, and he's got very quick foot speed. I don't know if you guys noticed. He's got very quick foot speed for a big. And he can dive to the hoop. When he sets that screen, he can dive to the hoop quick. And when he catches the ball, he can go up a lot quicker than most big guys. He's very nimble and very quick of foot. He can catch the ball and get up a lot quicker than a guy like Stu, for example, who has to gather and then go back up. Like, he just catches it and goes. Maybe even quicker than JD, for that matter. He's got very quick foot speed for a big guy, man. So, but like I said, all these guys are playing the same way. They're playing with a uniformity. It doesn't matter who's in the court. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to run the same offense. They're going to bring the same approach defensively. I love that. It makes it so much easier to say next man up when everybody's playing the same way. Now, guys may not be as talented as other guys, but they can still be effective because they're all playing together. They're all playing the same way. They're all playing with the same intensity. They're all playing for each other. It doesn't matter who's in the court. You can win with that because you're not always going to have everybody available. You're not always going to have guys with just one foul going into the fourth quarter. You're going to have foul trouble. Having guys with a next man up mentality can really make that glaring hole go away. It can really make having a guy who's out or not available make that glaring hole look a lot smaller because you have you got a deep roster. You got depth. You got a lot of versatile guys who can do different things. That's important to have in the playoffs. So he's filled in very, very nicely, man, in Stu's absence tonight and played a very, 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 very solid game. Very, very solid game for the Pistons, man. It was good to see that from him. All right, a few more guys and then we out here. Let's get to Ron Holland. Ron Holland, guys, he played solid as well. 8 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound, 2 from the field in 18 minutes. I mean, this team is very, very good, guys. Like, I was watching him in the paint going against bigger guys. There was a few plays he was trying to guard Filipowski, who is Utah's backup center. He's like 6'11", 250. And Ron wasn't giving up any ground in the paint. He was trying to body him. Ron wasn't moving. Ron played really big and really smart defense in that painted area against bigger guys. And offensively, he was able to get downhill and get to the line, get out on the break. Man, him and Asar, guys, on the court defensively could be murder. Ron and Asar on the floor together defensively can be murder, man. I watched them get out on the break tonight. God, it was so beautiful to watch. If the two of those guys can both develop a respectable jump shot, that's all I ask. 35%. If they can both get to 35%, the two of them guys could be so fun to watch, especially defense to offense, just like this. If they play together, that's what you're going to see all game long. Those two are going to be defensive menaces if they play together. I cannot wait to see. You see how much fun, look at how much speed Ron has trying to get down the court. And it's funny too because Asar passed it to Ron and went like this. Asar wanted to oop. So that's something else they'll probably talk about on the plane ride on their way home, right? Or in practice. That's something they'll probably talk about. Hey, Ron, give me the pass back, bro. I got the steal. Let me get the dunk. Throw me the pass back when I give it to you, right? That kind of thing. So, but even with that, these guys are just scratching the surface. They're just learning each other, and you're still seeing what they can do already. That's why I'm so excited. That's why I'm so happy for this team and happy about this team, because you're just seeing, man, once they figure it out, once they figure each other out, it's wraps. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with, man. So once again, Ryan continues to be that dog we need him to be. He shot 4-6 from the free throw line, so not bad. He didn't miss a shot, and he just did what he does, man. Just brings that intensity, brings that effort, and just sets that tone. And is a menace defensively. Him and Asar is going to be a lot of fun to watch if they can get their shot together. All right, last guy, guys, then we'll get out of here. Dennis Schroeder, 7 points, 4 assists, 3 boards, 1 block, 1 turnover, 3-8 from the field, 1 of 4 from 3, in 17 minutes. So early in this game, it looked like he was going to be super duper aggressive offensively. It seemed like early on, like I was thinking watching the game, like it's okay. Tonight, Schroeder's going to go into the Beasley role, right? Because I was just thinking with Beasley having to start, you're going to need a 6 man off the bench who can help get you some offense. Not just a point guard, but somebody who can help get you buckets. And he came into the game off the bench getting buckets. And that's kind of why I thought he may have been looking to be more aggressive with Beasley in the starting lineup and there being a hole in that second unit, right? As far as scoring. But his first 2 possessions were a 3-ball and an 1. So even though he's a pure point guard, he can still get buckets as well. And the Pistons, once again, the Pistons have a lot of versatility. They have a lot of versatility with their dynamic in their lineups. They have a lot of guys who can do a lot of different things. You know, that's what enabled them to be able to shift guys around and not skip too many beats. When Tobias goes out, now you got to move Ron to the 4 and move Tim Hardaway Jr. to the 3, right? But those guys are capable of doing it. They may not be the best in that spot, but they're capable of doing it. And then having a guy like Schroeder move into the Beasley role, 6 men off the bench because Beasley's starting, right? And then having guys behind him who can still help. Like that's why depth is so important. That's why having a deep team is so important. That's why when the Bad Boys won and the Going to Work teams won, they both had deep teams. They weren't top heavy with 2 guys who scored 30 points and everybody else is getting 10 tops, right? They have a very balanced team. On any given night, anybody can get it. Defensively, your team can get it if you're not paying attention to who has a hot hand. So it's like, that's why this team is going to be so good, because they're going to have so much balance. It's going to be hard for the defense to even know where it's coming from. It's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be fun. And that's what really enabled them to not skip too many beats, is that depth. Oh, okay, he's out. I'll step up. I'm on it, coach. I got you. I've been waiting for this, right? Having guys who can give you more, but we don't need it at the time because we have other guys who can do that. But when that guy goes down, now you can show more. Show me those things that you've been waiting to show me, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So you don't want to make a habit of having guys play out of position, even though they can, because you do want guys to be a star in their role. That's the most important thing, right? This is your role. Play it to the best of your ability, right? That's what you want. But ideally, it's not always going to be the case. And it's just encouraging to know that we have guys on this team who have the ability to do that if needed on any given night, right? So yeah, this team is just fun to watch, guys. This team is a lot of fun to watch, man. I could go on and on and on, but you guys catch on what I'm saying. This is going to be a very fun second half of the season, in the Pistons, we're going to continue to see them get better. That's the beauty of it. We're going to continue to see the Pistons get better and get better and get better. So it's very, very exciting time to be a Pistons fan. Very, very exciting time to be a Pistons fan, man. So, yeah. Oh, I think too, when I talked to Kate's brother, Kenan, shout out to Kenan, when I talked to him at the game the other day, I just asked him, I said, Kenan, what do you think of this team? Like, what are your thoughts on this team? I got a chance to ask him before he took this picture right here. I said, Kenan, what is it about this team you like? Or do you like this team? What do you feel about this team? He said, bro, I love this team. He said, I love this team. He said, this team right now is taking care of business. Right? And you guys got to remember, Kenan played for Larry Brown. He played for Larry Brown. Larry Brown coached at SMU. Kenan was there. Larry Brown said Kenan could have went to the NBA. Kenan wanted to pour into his little brother and let him be the star of the family. That was Kenan. But to hear him say that and to have played for Larry Brown, who coached his last Pistons team who won a championship, is very encouraging as well. It's just a nice little reinforcement, nail in the coffin, conversation that I had with him, just to know that everybody's seeing it. Everybody's seeing the return to the roots when it comes to this basketball team. So very, very excited time, guys. Very, very exciting, man. What you guys think of this game? Let me know in the comments, man. I'm going to get out of here. But like I said, hopefully the Pistons can continue this streak. They now move on to who they play next game. I think they have the Clippers. You know what? Before we go, let's do what we always do. Let's go to the schedule and see what things are looking like going forward. Seeing how long this current Pistons winning streak can go, because right now they're currently at 2. And let's see what we have over the next few games since we're here, right? Because that's what we always do. So let's pull it up and take a look. So here's the schedule. Coming up next for the Pistons are the Clippers on the road. That's tomorrow night. So we got a back-to-back. It's going to be tough. Actually, wait. No. That game is actually Wednesday. It's 12:45 a.m. So technically it's Tuesday, so they will not have a back-to-back. That is Wednesday. They play Monday night. All right, so I think the Pistons have a shot to win that game. It's going to be tough. At home or on the road, playing the Clippers is going to be tough. We know the Clippers play a certain style of physical basketball, and I'm not sure if you guys watched the Clippers versus Lakers game tonight, but the Clippers did lose the game, but Kawhi Leonard looks to be in peak form. He had 30-plus points. I think he had a bunch of dimes and assists. He was doing his thing. He looks like Kawhi again. So we'll see. Man. That's going to be a tough one. But after that, we have the Warriors we got to play on Saturday. So the Pistons will have 2.5 days off from Wednesday to Saturday to kind of rest up and get ready for that one. They can definitely get that one as well. The starting lineup for the Warriors, they have bolstered it with Jimmy Butler, but they're not a deep team. So I think the Pistons can get that game too. And then they have the Trailblazers, which is also going to be a tough game because they're playing much better now. But once again, I think they can beat them as well. So the Pistons can get some gettable games here. And then once they come back home, they got the Wizards twice. Right? And then things get interesting with the Thunder. So like I said, I wanted the Pistons to go 3-1 on this road trip. They are now 1 out of 3 so far. They got 2 more games. Or they got 3 more games, I'm sorry. The Clippers, Warriors, and Blazers. So they're 1-0 so far. So if they can get 2 of these next 3, I'll be happy. 2 out of the next 3, I'm happy with that. That'll be great. I will definitely live with that. And headed back home, that will be a great record, and we'll have a chance to get a few more wins moving forward. So last but not least, we are going to take a look at the NBA standings, because that's what we always do, to see who we're chasing, to see how close we are to the Bucks, and also to see how close we are to the Indiana Pacers. Let's take a look. After tonight's win, the Pistons are now 35-27, season best 8 games over 500, and we are now a half game behind both Indiana and Milwaukee. And as you guys see, guys, what did I say a few shows ago about the importance of getting off to a great start to start the second half of the season post All-Star break? What did I always say? It's so important to do that, because right now, guys, it's about, for most of these teams, from 1 to 6 is about going to the playoffs with momentum. Look over here, a streak. Look at all the top 6 teams, including the Pistons. Look at how they're playing. Pistons, 1, 2 straight. Pacers just won their last one. Bucks, 2 straight. Knicks, 3 straight. Celtics, 1 straight. Cleveland Cavaliers, 10 straight. Everybody 1 through 6 has won. 1 through 7 have won. Right? That's the importance of making sure that you go into the playoffs playing the right way. It's all about momentum, building chemistry and camaraderie, doing the same things over and over and over again. That is what this is about right now. That's why so many teams are locked in right now. So we have to continue to put games away. That's why winning games like tonight was important. Win the games you're supposed to win. We don't have time to be blowing games to teams that are inferior. Sorry. Right? So that has to be the key for the Pistons going forward. So we'll end it with that, guys. I will see you guys here Wednesday nights post game against the Clippers, and we will see if the Pistons can make it 3 in a row and see how far they can push the streak they're currently on now. So as always, I appreciate you guys showing up and showing out. This has been a great show, and I will see you guys Wednesday night post game against the Clippers. And as always, appreciate you hanging with your boy. Detroit versus everybody. Peace.